Hello everyone and welcome to our educational event. My name is Paul Arsov and I'm the founder of the Decentralized Web project. The topic of our educational event today is concentration as a media trend ahead. This is part one of this presentation. There is going to be a part two of this presentation as well. The presentation is inspired by an article, and the article is looking for a variety of trends for the media, and like there trends like fragmentation and this intermediation, they're resulting from technology and systematically lowering the barriers to produce, market, distribute and monetize content. But as usual, at the point of starting of this event, let me tell you a little bit of our project as well. I'm the founder of the Decentralized Web project, and recently we have released a marketplace and collection of NFTs. So what is interesting, unique and special about our NFTs is that it is based on three-dimensional objects. These three-dimensional objects, they're loaded and animated by our own 3D software engine, and this 3D software engine gives also additional capabilities to our 3D NFTs. The first capability is additional capability for our NFTs is the capability of speaking. Our NFTs can speak in one of three different basic voices. They can speak either in male voice or in a female voice or in a whisper kind of a voice. Then there are flavors of each of these voices. A voice can be spoken either in a slow speed or in a fast speed or in a normal speed manner. The second additional and important capability of our 3D NFTs is the capability of voice recognition. Like usually, a 3D NFT is loaded on in a window on a computer screen, and it is animated in a way of moving it around this window in a random fashion. And we can issue our very first voice command to the 3D NFT to stop moving, and then the 3D NFT is going to stand still and stop moving. We can issue additional voice commands to the 3D NFT to move left, move right, move up, move down, come closer, zoom in, zoom out, rotate. And then the 3D NFT is going to fulfill each one of these commands and move left, then move right, move up, then move down, come closer, zoom in, go further away, zoom out, and start rotating. The next important and additional capability for our 3D NFTs is the capability of them having basic artificial intelligence. Wow, really wow. You can ask the 3D NFT what is your name, and then the 3D NFT is going to reply with their name. You can ask the 3D NFT who are you, and the 3D NFT is going to reply with who they are. You can ask the 3D NFT to describe something. For example, describe Web3 or describe decentralization or describe Russia. And then the 3D NFT is going to reply in few sentences and describe Web3 or decentralization or the country called Russia. The last capability that we are having for our 3D NFT is the capability to see them in real 3 dimensions. Currently, we have a version of the 3D NFT which is displayed on a flat 2-dimensional computer screen, and we are using our imagination to imagine the 3D NFT in 3 dimensions. But you can go to our marketplace website, and this is the time to tell you the name and the URL of our 3D NFT marketplace. It is 3dnft.decentralizedweb.org. 3D NFT is typed in a way with the number 3 followed by the letter D followed by 3 other letters NFT. Altogether 3D NFT. Then there is dot, then there are 2 words, decentralized and web. Decentralizedweb.org. And you can type the image of our collection. You can see a link to accessories, and when you type the link to accessories, you are going to see that we are offering special glasses. And when you order and receive these glasses, you're going to see that one lens of these glasses is red and the other lens of these glasses is blue. And then you can request displaying the 3D NFT in with its second version, which we're planning to add to the normal version of the 3D NFT. And this second version is going to be displayed in a way of stereoscopics. What stereoscopics means is that one part of the 3D NFT is going to be displayed in red or reddish colors, and another part of the 3D NFTs is going to be displayed in blue or bluish colors. Then you can put these glasses on, and when you have the 3D NFT displayed in a way of stereoscopics, you're going to see the 3D NFT as coming out of the flat 2-dimensional computer screen, and you're going to see it in real 3 dimensions. So this is the last capability of our 3D NFTs, and let me tell you something also about our marketplace, what makes it unique and special. Ordinary NFT marketplaces, they're predominantly based on 2-dimensional flat and static JPEG or PNG images. But our 3D NFT marketplace is based predominantly on 3-dimensional objects. We have our first collection, but all of the following collections, they're going to be based on 3-dimensional objects as well. And in addition to this, when a creator goes to an ordinary NFT marketplace, then they have to choose a blockchain on which the non-fungible tokens um, for the digital items that the creator is offering. Um, the creator has to choose a single blockchain for deploying of the NFTs. And compare this with our marketplace where we have our own blockchain instance. It runs Ethereum like software, and this type of software is used to run multiple and significant and major blockchains like, for example, Ethereum mainnet, Polygon Matic, Avalanche AVAX, and etc. So what is the difference between our blockchain and, for example, Ethereum mainnet is the network ID. The network ID for Ethereum mainnet is number 1, and the network ID for our blockchain instance is 124. By having our own blockchain instance, we can deploy all of the non-fungible tokens for the 3D objects on our own blockchain instance. And in this way, we do not require our users to pay gas fees for deployments of the smart contracts for the NFTs, and gas fees for transfers of ownership from one user to another user. We essentially detached our 3D NFT from a popular blockchain. We did attach it to our own blockchain instance, and we allow then buying and selling of our 3D NFTs in multiple crypto coins. Currently, the choice of crypto coins includes 4 different coins, and the list of these coins is with Solana Sol, Polygon Matic, Avalanche AVAX, and Qcoin, which is a big centralized crypto exchange. They have a coin called KCS. In addition to this way of payment with multiple crypto coins, we have a second parallel and independent way of buying and selling done directly with fiat currency. I can give an example. For example, you, the user, you're coming to our 3D NFT marketplace. You click on our first collection. You see an NFT you like. You click on this NFT. There is a drop-down screen asking you whether to pay in one of 4 different crypto coins or pay in fiat currency. Let's say you choose payment with fiat currency, and then you are going to be asked to put the number of your debit or credit card and complete the transaction. So what is then happening is there is going to be a transaction and a transfer, you are paying with your national fiat currency, and this payment is converted from your national fiat currency to US dollars, and it is deposited in our bank account. Then there is a transaction which is transferring on the initial ownership from our marketplace to you as the user. And let's say you are going to play and enjoy this 3D NFT for a while, and then you decide to put this 3D NFT for sale. You can decide on the price of the 3D NFT, and then you can then you can wait for another buyer to come and buy this 3D NFT which you put for sale. And let's say there's a second user who comes to our marketplace. They browse through the 3D NFTs. They see and like the NFT which you, the first user, put for sale. And let's say the second user decides to pay also with fiat currency. What is then happening is there's a transaction which takes the payment from the debit or credit card of the second user, and conversion from the fiat currency of the second user to US dollars, and this transaction is deposited in our bank account. Then this action is followed by a transfer of ownership from you, the first initial user of the 3D NFT, to the second user. Then the second user becomes owner of the 3D NFT, and we are following this with a transaction then from our bank account and conversion from US dollars to the national fiat currency of you, the first and now former user of this 3D NFT. And we have a deposit of this national fiat currency into your bank account. This completes the payment done entirely in fiat currency. So that's it regarding to the this second parallel and independent way of buying and selling of our 3D NFT, and this is going to conclude our little introduction of our project. But let's come back to the topic of today, which is concentration as a media trend ahead. This is part one of a presentation which is going to have also part two in the next week. So this article was inspired by this presentation was inspired by an article, and this article is looking to the media trend, and like the first two media trends were fragmentation and disintermediation, which are resulting from technology systematically lowering the barriers to produce, market, distribute, and monetize content. This trend, concentration, is the consequence of putting everyone on a big network. Networks are subject to powerful positive feedback loops that produce extreme outcomes. In the case of media, they concentrate both power on the supply side and attention on the demand side. Historically, distribution of media was siloed and one way. Today, most media is distributed on universal, global, and two-way networks. The positive feedback loops on networks produce network effects, and information and reputational cascades. Network effects are a supply-side effect because they influence market structures. They produce a winner takes all or most markets, concentrating power and value in few companies. Combined with these companies' global reach and universality, that means traditional media companies are now contending with distributors and competitors with unparalleled scale, resources, and the ability to cross-subsidize losses almost indefinitely. Creators and consumers are contending with new gatekeepers with unprecedented power, although they wield it in different way than traditional intermediaries. Cascades are demand-side effects because they influence the distribution of consumption. Hits are self-perpetuating. The rich gets richer because people interpret popularity as a signal of quality. This is information cascade and or social currency, and this is reputational cascade. This results in power law like popularity distributions, where a small number of outside hits in the head and a vast number of misses in the tail. These extreme popularity distributions shift bargaining power to the rare breakout talent. They hollow the middle of a curve and increase the risk of making content. We can be discussing also virtualization, but this article concentrates mostly on the trend of concentration and the role of networks. Prior to internet, the distribution of media was local, siloed, and one-way. Media products were delivered through a local, format-specific outlets, for example, movie theaters or retailers or local TV and radio stations or local newspapers. And consumers had no feedback mechanisms other than voting with their pocketbooks or attention. Today, most media is consumed on global, universal, two-way information networks. That includes social networks like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, of course, but any site or app that has a return path, whether an active return path such as ability for consumers to like content, comment or share, or passive return path through data collection, it is all done on a network. Netflix, Amazon, Spotify, cable systems, Apple News, New York Times website, the Substacks are all examples of networks. But let's unpack and look at details about global, universal, and two-way. The reach of this network is global because they aren't bound by geography, although they sometimes constrained by the rights they own or local regulation. They're also universal in the same sense, since all media goods have been reduced to bits and bytes. These networks can distribute any kinds of media. Apple and Amazon, for example, distribute newspapers, magazines, books, software, games, TV shows, films, and music. Most important is the term two-way. On a network, the behavior of every node can affect every other node, which results in positive, also called reinforcing feedback loops. For media, the growing prevalence of networks, and particularly the positive feedback loops on networks, has two important implications. One on the supply side and one on the demand side. One type of positive loop is network effects, which lead to a winner takes all or most outcomes, concentrating power and value in few networks. Combined with these networks' global reach and universality, that means traditional media companies are now contending with distributors and competitors with unparalleled scale, resources, and ability to cross-subsidize losses almost indefinitely. Creators and consumers are grappling with new gatekeepers. Another type of positive feedback loop is cascade that concentrate attention. On networks, hits are self-perpetuating, and because people interpret popularity as a signal of quality, and this is a so-called information cascade, and they interpret it also as a social currency, which is a reputational cascade. This results in power law like popularity distributions, where a small size of outside hits in the head and a vast number of misses in the which are in the tail. These extreme distributions counteract the fragmentation, but also they shift bargaining power to the talent in the head. They hollow the middle and increase the risk of making content. So let's dig into network effects in media. So much has been written about network effects in media that we are going to try to hit only the big points. Media has always favored the big network effects, bring a new kind of big. Media has long been characterized by supply side economies of scale. namely the benefits of being big. To take few examples from, for example, Warner Bros. Had the largest global distribution footprint of any studio. So any film it distributes had a better chance of succeeding, enabling it to attract the best projects. By contrast, network effects are also called demand-side economies of scale, meaning that users benefit directly as the network grows. The canonical example is the telephone. The first telephone was worth nothing because as the only telephone on the network, it could neither receive or send calls. Each phone that subsequently joined the network increased the number of other people who could send or receive calls and therefore increase the value of the network for all users. Network effects can vary in strength based on few factors such as the value derived from the network effects relative to the total value of the service and the switching costs or ease of multi-homing using more than one service. Companies that operate multi-sided markets that facilitate interactions between third parties and consumers are often called platforms. They tend to exhibit very strong network effects. The more participants on each side of the market, the harder it is to coordinate a move to an alternative platform. Operating systems like, for example, Windows OS, iOS, Android, peer-to-peer sharing economy networks like Airbnb use good marketplaces, eBay, and social networks are all examples of platforms. But what about a winner takes all or most? The advent of media consumption on networks has brought network effects to media to varying degrees. For example, people consume a lot of media on Facebook, which has extremely strong network effects because it is pretty much impossible to move your whole social graph somewhere else. YouTube has relatively low switching and multi-homing costs. You can easily search for video somewhere else, but it exhibits a very strong network effects because of the sheer size of creators, advertisers, and consumers on the network. No one has an incentive to go anywhere else. Netflix has network effects because the more users, the more consumptions data it gathers, and the better its recommendation systems. Similarly, for Spotify, the more users, the more playlists to follow. But in comparisons to Facebook or YouTube, Netflix and Spotify has relative weak network effects because the quality of recommendation system or access to other people's playlists are secondary to the quality and breadth of content and other product features. The platforms with the strongest network effects have developed unprecedented global scale with unparalleled resources like enormous capital for R&D or acquisitions, top talent, and first-party data. And they have an almost unassailable competitive position. In addition, because of both their size and universality, meaning that they can enter new information verticals with relatively easy, they are able to lose vast sum of money when entering adjacent market, either to establish a competitive beachhead or because they expect these losses to be offset by larger gains in some other part of their business. If the later, they can theoretically lose money in any adjacent market almost forever. It seems hardly worth re-litigating these points which have been made many times. But let's meet the new boss, not the same as the old boss, metaphorically. Having established what has already been established many times, let's get to the so what. The media industry has always had gatekeepers, or what we can refer to as traditional intermediaries. Are we just replacing old gatekeepers with new gatekeepers? In some ways, yes, but there are important distinctions between them. The new gatekeepers don't mind the gates. So if we take Disney, Warner Music, and Take-Two, they're gatekeepers in the sense that they completely control what films, albums, or games they make or distribute. For an actor or director to make it in Hollywood, for example, means that she has to convince a major studio to make a bet on her. YouTube, Spotify, and Steam do not exercise nearly as much control. While they may change terms of service, retain ironclad control and ownership of data on their platforms, extract hefty taxes, and sometimes deplatform or demonetize creators for seemingly capricious reasons. Anyone can upload content to these platforms permissionlessly, but subject to terms of service. Also, while the new gatekeepers may curate the content on their platforms, for the most part they do so through recommendation algorithms that largely depend on user behavior, not on a development executive's judgment or the platform's corporate interests. Even they sometimes put their thumbs on the scale, and this difference in degree of oversight has both societal benefit and cost. The former is much lower barriers to creation, and therefore much greater diversity of viewpoints and artistic breadth. But the later is a lack of oversight over potential harmful information. So what is happening is the new intermediaries take no risk and retain no equity. One of the reasons that traditional intermediaries exercise such control over the content they produce is that they take substantial financial and reputational risk. They finance production, spend heavily on promotion, and their brands are closely associated with the content then they make. In exchange for taking on this risk, understandably, they retain much on the upside. Film and TV studio, for example, may provide profit participation to talent, but it is usually small and only after the studio have recouped their costs. Platforms like YouTube, Spotify, Substack, or Patreon usually take no financial risk and generally have a fixed revenue share. In the case of sponsored posts on YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, take no share at all. But they also usually do little to promote content beyond what is surfaced by the algorithm, or in the case of Patreon, nothing at all. For creators, it is sink or swim. They facilitate direct relationships between creators and consumers. This is what new intermediaries are doing in concentration and network effects. Traditional intermediaries' marketing efforts are generally discussed on a product, like, for example, a movie, TV show, game, or album, and they will market the talent behind these products only when it benefits the product. An exception is music, where those are one and the same. On platforms, on the other hand, the creator is the product, and therefore better able to forge direct relationships with fans. So let's ask the question, can anything stop this concentration of power? So this is going to be ending of part 2 of our presentation. We are ending with question, can anything stop this concentration of power in media? And we are going to be having the answer in part 2 of this presentation. With this said, I will be ending this presentation, and once again I like to mention the URL and the name of our 3D NFT marketplace. It is 3dnft.decentralizedweb.org. 3D NFT is typed in a way of the number 3, followed by the letter D, followed by 3 other letters, NFT. And this is all together, 3D NFT. Then there is dot, then there are 2 words, decentralized and web. They are typed all together, decentralized web. Then there is dot, and it ends with org. On the bottom of every page on our 3D NFT marketplace, you can see the icons of the social networks that we post on. You can click on one or more of these social networks. You can become a follower or a member of the group and get notified about events, just like the event today. And today is Sunday, and the channel on which this is happening is Instagram Live. Thank you for coming. Have a nice day, have a nice evening, and goodbye.